And you will notice that angular momentum in quantum mechanics takes on a very different meaning than in classical mechanics. And a lot of strange phenomena occur when we study angular momentum in quantum mechanics. However, before we start studying angular momentum, we have to make a slight digression. We'll have to study first a concept which is called compatible observables. We've already seen what is meant by compatible observables, but we would like to take this discussion a little further. So we'll start our discussion with compatible observables. Now suppose A and B are two observables. Since they are observables, we can associate Hermitian operators with them. We have A hat and B hat. And from the indeterminacy principle, which is a general form of the uncertainty principle, we also know that the uncertainty in A, in observable A, multiplied by the uncertainty in observable B, is bound from the lower side by this value, half expectation value of the commutator of A and B. So this means that if the commutator of A and B is 0, which means the observable A commutes with the observable B, then this right hand side can be 0, will be 0. And if the right hand side is 0, either of delta A or delta B or both can be 0. So there is no spread in the values of A, there is no spread in the values of B. But that only happens when the observable A commutes with the observable B. And notice my semantics. I say that my observable is A and B, and the Hermitian operator associated with A is A hat, the Hermitian operator associated with observable B is B hat. So I call A and B observables, but I also call these operators. I am justifying calling these operators observables as well. Right? So these operators are also observables because they represent observables. So this is the indeterminacy relationship. Alright. Now, two observables are compatible if the commutator A with B is 0. So this defines compatible observables. And we'll explore the physical meaning of compatibility in a while. And we all know that this commutator is defined as A multiplied by B minus B multiplied by A. In general, from linear algebra, you already know that two matrices in general don't commute. So one has to find out this commutator. This commutator determines the indeterminacy. It's a very important function of the two operators, the commutator itself. Now suppose there's a theorem which I would like to prove now. The theorem states that if A and B commute, and if their commutator is 0, then these Hermitian operators A and B will have a common eigenbasis. In other words, another way of stating this theorem is that if A and B commute, one can always find a set of orthogonal states spanning the Hilbert space. Such a set of orthogonal states is also called a basis. One can always find a set of orthogonal states spanning the Hilbert space which form the simultaneous eigenstates of A and B. And I'll explain this in a minute. So what this theorem really means is that if A commutes with B, then one can find a set of states which are the basis for the Hilbert space such that, so one can always find there exists a set of states, say gamma I, there exists a set of states lambda I which are a basis, which form a basis of the Hilbert space such that these states are eigenstates of both A and B, which means that if A operator acts on any of these states, then this state is an eigenstate of A. So the output is still lambda I with some eigenvalue AI, and simultaneously these states, this set of states are also eigenstates of the operator B. That is, B acts on these states, recovering the same states with some eigenvalue Bi. Okay. Now I give you a minute to assimilate what I've written on the blackboard. पहले एक मिनट खामोशी से देखो इसको.
So here, this is true for any two observables A and B. We will always be able
Which
to
commute?
Which commute?
Any two observables which commute, they have, you can find a common eigenbasis. There is a set of states that form a basis for that Hilbert space. You can always choose a basis which comprises vectors that are eigenvectors of A and B at the same time. They can be different eigenvalues. This eigenvalue can be different from this eigenvalue. But there always exists a set of orthogonal states which form the basis for this Hilbert space, such that these orthogonal states form eigenstates of A and simultaneously their eigenstates for B. Okay. Now we have to prove this.
So the Hilbert space which we are considering is at the Hilbert space on the states of A or B, or is
both A and B are operators. They act on states. These states live in the Hilbert space. All right. Now let's prove this. And the proof will give you more insight into what this really means. Sometimes proving or deriving a result gives you insight into what the meaning of the statement is. Right? Suppose I have a set of states labeled as A. Okay? They form a basis for this Hilbert space. Okay? Just like if you have a two-dimensional Hilbert space, cat H and cat V form a basis. Alpha, beta form a basis. When we talk about spin half system, plus Z, cat plus Z and minus Z form a basis. So suppose we have a set of states labeled by cat A. Now the operator A acts on this state. Suppose this state is also an eigenstate of A. Okay. What we would like to prove is that this state is also an eigenstate of another operator B, which commutes with A. Now suppose this state is an eigenstate of A. Since it's an eigenstate, the result would still be cat A with a certain eigenvalue. Okay. इसका यही मतलब है ना कि cat A is an eigenstate of the operator A. Okay. Just doing some basic algebra, you find this relationship, right? I take this to the right, left hand side, I get this. This is equation number 1. Now suppose I choose another basis. Okay. And I call those basis states, I label those basis states by B. A Hilbert space can be decomposed into an infinite variety of basis states. You can have cat H, cat P, you can have cat 45, cat minus 45. This is another basis. You can have cat 45, cat 135. There is an infinite variety of choosing your basis. Suppose I have another set of vectors, orthogonal vectors, that also form a basis. They form a complete set. This means that the cat A I have chosen can also be written as a superposition of these states. Okay. Any vector in that Hilbert space can either be decomposed as any vector psi can be decomposed as a sum of A's with some CA, right? Right? This is the meaning of a basis state. Any vector in that space can be decomposed as a sum of cat A's, or it can be decomposed as a sum of cat B's. Okay? Because both of these sets form a basis. Now take any vector, cat A, inside the same Hilbert space and decompose this as a sum of B's, right? There is no reason why I can't do this, right? ठीक बात है ना? Any vector in the Hilbert space can be decomposed as a superposition of cat A's because these cat A's form a basis. Okay? I can also decompose this vector in another basis. I can decompose this as dB cat B, right? Where these are the coefficients. So there's an infinite number of ways in which I can decompose a state. I choose a basis. A basis is basically a set of states or orthogonal states that completely span the Hilbert space, and I can decompose this vector either in this basis or in this basis. Right? There's no harm in doing that. Only that these coefficients will change. Something? No? Lighting पड़ी है नजर नहीं? let me give you an example. If I have a two-dimensional Hilbert space, cat H and cat P form basis. Okay. So any state can be written as CH cat H plus CV cat P. Okay. But this is not the only basis that I can choose. I can choose another basis, cat 45 minus 45. This is another basis. So I am completely liberal in choosing to decompose this state in this basis. So I can write D45 cat 45 plus D minus 45 cat minus 45. So now there are different ways in which I can decompose a state. Okay. Only that these coefficients will change. This coefficient will not be the same as this coefficient. Okay. ये बात तो समझ आ गई। अब मैं क्या करता हूँ? मैं इनमें से कोई भी basis state choose करूँ, I can decompose this as a superposition of the other basis states. Remember the similarity transforms we were doing? We can write cat H as a superposition of these basis states. We can write cat B as a superposition of these basis states. Right? So now I have two candidate bases. I have the set of cat A's and I have the set of cat B's. What I would like to do, I would like to write any cat A in this basis. So I choose coefficient CB multiplied by cat B and sum up over all B's. Okay? So this is a vector in the Hilbert space. Cat A is just a vector. Even though it's an eigenstate of A, it's still a vector. So this vector can be decomposed in any other basis if I choose the proper coefficients. Okay? ठीक है? अब देखो. This is my equation number 2.
So the reason you can decompose this into different states is because they occupy the same space.
Yeah, they are living the same Hilbert space. Okay, clear है? अब देखो. Now this is my equation number 1. This A, I can decompose this as a sum of cat B's. Now the basis, the set of basis vectors B's are chosen such that they are eigenstates of another operator B, which means that B acts on B to give me the same state back with some eigenvalue B. Okay? This is how I choose the B's. Okay? We know that for a Hermitian operator, the eigenstates of any Hermitian operator form a basis. We know this. This is something we've already proven. ठीक है ना? So if the B's are the eigenstates of the operator B, what this means is that B acts on cat B to give you back cat B with some eigenvalue. Because since the B's form a basis and the basis is chosen such that they are eigenstates of some other operator B. Okay. Now I take this A, which is decomposed in the basis B, and plug it into equation number 1. So I have operator A minus the eigenvalue A acting on cat A. Now cat A is given by CB cat B sum over all of B's. This gives me 0. ठीक है? अब देखो, I can take this summation side, I can bring it here because there is no B here. So I can bring this summation side B here. I can take this CB here. A minus small a acting on B gives me 0. ओके, यहां तक बात समझ आ गई? ठीक है, and now this is a sum over all B's, over all kets, the B's that form a basis for the Hilbert space, and these states are eigenstates of operator B. Okay. Now let's pick up any one term in this sum. अब देखो इसमें b की वैल्यू चेंज हो रही है, b1 है, 2 है, 3 है, whatever the dimension of the Hilbert space is. Let's pick up any one term. Let's pick up any one term, right, in B. So I pick up one term CB A minus A ket B, right? What form is this? Is this term an operator or a ket? Ali? ये पूरी टर्म एक ऑपरेटर है या एक कैट है या स्टेट है? It's a state because an operator is acting on a state to give you a new state, and this is just a benign number. So this is just some ket. Okay, it's some state. Now what we would like to do, we have picked up one ket. Inside this summation, I would like to make the operator B act on this ket. ठीक है? Now I make operator B act on this ket. Is this a scalar? It's a scalar, so it's porous. You can move this anywhere. So I get CB B multiplied by A minus B. Now this is just a number, scalar. So I can bring this here, okay? Acting on B. Okay? ठीक है? मैं यहाँ से यहाँ आता हूँ. Now this CB, nothing happens to CB. Now if A and B commute, right? So it's given in the theorem that if A and B commute, what's going to happen? So I can change the order of A and B because they commute. They're compatible observables, they commute. So this is the key step here. So I can write A before B minus A, B acting on B. Now CB into A operator. Now B operator acting on B. Since B is an eigenstate of B, I get back B with the coefficient small b, which is an eigenvalue, minus CB A, B acting on B gives me B okay? This means CB A minus A B. I just reorder my terms like this. When capital B, the operator acts on B, it's an eigenstate of B, so I get B with an eigenvalue. Now what does this result show us? This ket, is this an eigenstate of ket of operator B? Yes, it is. If state B is an eigenstate of B with eigenvalue B, then this state is an eigenstate of the operator B with the same eigenvalue. Okay. Now, is B a Hermitian operator? Yes, it is. This is an eigenstate of B. So, if I choose this state with a particular value of B, and then I vary all the B's, all of these eigenstates will have a special property. What's that property? They will be orthogonal, because the eigenstates of a Hermitian operator can always be chosen to be orthogonal, right? So all of these states with different values of small b will be orthogonal. Now what do I have in equation number 3? This is sum ket, and you are taking the sum over all of these. So what this means is that you're taking the sum over orthogonal states, and your result is 0. Okay? So what this really means is you're choosing a basis, you're choosing orthogonal states and you're summing up over all the orthogonal states, and your result is 0. If this happens, then each of these states must be identically equal to 0. Because the sum over orthogonal vectors, if this is 0, then each of these vectors must be 0. Right? Hence, CB A minus small a B must be equal to 0 even without the summation sign. Each of these terms must be 0. Because what we've proven is that each of these terms is an eigenstate of operator B. Now B is a Hermitian operator. So all of the terms like this must be mutually orthogonal. Okay? Because that's the property of Hermitian operators. What we're doing here is that we're summing up over orthogonal states. And the sum over orthogonal states is 0. But that's only possible when each one of these orthogonal states is identically equal to 0. Okay? Hence, each one of these states must equal 0. ये बात समझ आ रही है?
सिर्फ 1 0 होने का मतलब क्या फिजिकली क्या मतलब है? 1 0
एक देखो एक ऑपरेटर है जो एक्ट हो रहा है इस स्टेट पे एंड इट इज एनाहिलेटिंग द स्टेट. ओके, सपोज यू हैव cat z and you have an operator that acts on this cat z. The answer is 0. There is no output. Just like a horizontal polarizer, if vertically polarized photons enter a horizontal polarizer, the output state is 0. Okay, so this is an operator acting on this state to give you 0. This result is true for all B's. This result is true for all B's. Any B. You can have cat 1, cat 2, cat 3. Each one of these terms must be identically equal to 0. Only then you can have a sum of orthogonal terms which is 0. G.
So what about the arithmetic B associated with it?
Right, that's not equal to 0. Now we're going to manipulate this a little bit. That's not going to be equal to 0. Now if you have this relationship, which I hope you've understood, now let's do a little bit of manipulation. The CB cannot be equal to 0. This CB cannot be equal to 0. Because if this CB equals to 0, then it's meaningless. You are decomposing cat A as a sum of B's. This has to be non-zero. So what you would like to do, this just goes away. Okay. You You divide both sides by C, you get 0, and you left with A minus A acting on state B equals 0. Now I take this to the other side. I'm left with operator A acting on B gives me A, B. And this is your desired result. You started off by having the eigenstate A of operator A, which means operator A acts on the state A to give me back the state A with an eigenvalue small a. Okay? You started off with this result. Now you prove that if A commutes with B, that is, I can do this reordering here. Then what happens is that this B is also an eigenstate of A. Right?